Hey folks, Dr. Joe here. Glad to be with us today. If you're new to the show, welcome. The way we do this is I do two 24-minute segments. So I'm going to talk for 24 minutes. Whatever platform you're on, you're going to write in any healthcare questions you might have. Type it in. Allison, my producer behind the camera there, will then read me the questions at the 24-minute break. I will answer your questions at the 24-minute break. And then we'll go ahead and do another 24-minute segment and take another 24-minute break where we will break after 24 minutes where I'll answer more of your questions. So this is an amazing opportunity. You now have the opportunity to ask healthcare questions of me and get them answered. Because I don't know if anywhere else in the world you can do that. You can't just call up a doctor's office and say, hey, listen, I got these questions. What should I do? Make an appointment, make an appointment, make an appointment. I'm trying to give you as much information as I can so you have control of your own health. It's really important. If you're watching this live, it is now 1 o'clock on January 30th, 2023. If you're watching it live, please put in hashtag live. If you're watching it on a replay, just put in hashtag replay. I really appreciate if you would do that for me because then the bots out in the world will know when and how it's being watched. So we get better ratings because of that. So I'll give you the information. You got to do that as a favor to me. So do that right now and share this, by the way. Share it with whatever platforms you have. Just share it with all your lists, Facebook, Instagram, whatever it is, and so that other people in your list can tune in as well. So, Allison, I am ready to go when you are. Ready? Hey, folks, Dr. Joe Esposito here. I am happy that you're with me today. Hey, good show today. We're going to talk about secrets to increasing energy without caffeine. I know you're thinking that's impossible. I can't increase my energy without caffeine. And in fact, depending on the study you read, 75, 85% of you out there take some type of stimulant every single day. So it could be caffeine, could be from coffee, could be from tea, could be from chocolate. But stimulants are huge in all societies, actually. And the problem is that there are some benefits to it. In fact, a friend of mine, a doctor down in Florida, just sent me some information. Tea versus coffee. It was an interesting article. And coffee had some benefits and tea had some benefits. And the bottom line was they both have benefits and they're both good for you. Well, I disagree. I think the tea has way less caffeine and way more nutrients. Coffee has a lot more caffeine, and also coffee is one of the highest sprayed foods there are with chemicals and pesticides and fungicides. Because coffee beans, when they're picked, they sit around for a long time before they're actually sold and roasted and grounded coffee. And so mold and fungus grows on it. And so they spray it many times with fungicides to kill that. And so you're getting a lot of chemicals from the coffee. So if you're going to do coffee, which I don't think you should, but if you're going to do coffee, I recommend organic only. But I'm going to give you the tips today that I use to stay awake, where I get my energy from, because people ask me all the time. They said, at your age, where do you get this kind of energy from? How do you run the way you do? And it's simply because I do the things I'm going to share with you. So these are my personal secrets. These are the things that I've learned over the past 40 years on things you can do without caffeine, because caffeine has plus and minuses. This is all plus, no minus. So all the benefits, none of the downside. Why wouldn't you do it? So one of the things I want you to start thinking of is eating more raw food. Now, if you listen to my podcast or my shows or my lectures or my books before, I talk a lot about raw food because raw food has something in it called enzymes. And enzymes are truly the missing link when it comes to nutrients. Because most of you know about vitamin C and vitamin B and vitamin D and all these other vitamins, but how many of you have ever heard about enzymes? Probably not a lot. Enzymes are the things that make it all come together. So I can take a bag of chemicals, sack of chemicals, and throw enzymes in it, and in theory, become a living human being. Well, it won't happen that way, but you eat double beef cheese hamburger on white bread with artificially processed cheese food spread, and then your body somehow converts that into eye tissue or liver or blood or hair or nerve impulses or brain. The way that works is enzymes break things down, and then different enzymes come along and reassemble everything. Enzymes convert one thing into another. In men especially, and women, your body converts testosterone into estrogen. For men, because we don't produce estrogen, we get it from converting testosterone into estrogen with something called aromatase. So if you see the word ASE, the suffix ASE at the end of a word, that means it's an enzyme. So aromatase converts testosterone into estrogen. It's good at some points, but if you have too much aromatase, you're converting too much testosterone into estrogen, and then there's other things you can do to block it. So when you get into the chemistry of enzymes, it's really complicated. All you need to know is that eating more raw food is good for you. Because as soon as you cook anything above 110 degrees, the enzymes start to break down. The enzymes are protein, and they what we call denature. They change their molecular structure under heat. So what I want you to do is start eating more raw food. Have at least one meal a day as a salad. And you can buy pre-made salads. You can make your own salads. And it doesn't just have to be lettuce. Cabbages are great. If you do cabbage and Brussels sprouts, those are called cruciferous vegetables. And cruciferous vegetables are high in diindole methane, and that really helps your hormone levels. So cruciferous vegetables have a lot of benefits, of course, fiber and iron and B complexes and things like that, but it also helps with the hormones. So you don't have to think, well, I'm bored with lettuce, because I get bored with lettuce really easy. I'll have it for I'll buy a big, tin of it or whatever, a shell, and I'll eat it for 2 or 3 days, and I'm like, I'm so bored with lettuce. What can I do about this? So shake it up a little bit. Decide what else you can throw in there. How about cucumbers? How come radishes? How about organic corn if you want to slice it off the husk, the stalk, whatever it is, the cob. You can shred up things like kale, coleslaw, make a coleslaw type thing out of broccoli or collard greens. Collard greens are tough because they're really tough to chew, but if you shred them really thin, so you can go to the grocery store, look at the produce section, and say, what else can I throw in my salad today? And now, in recent years, they have these pre-made salads in a bag, ready to go, pre-washed, and those, if you're lazy, those are great too. Because even a pre-made salad that might cost you, $4 is way cheaper than going out for lunch, which is going to cost you $15. And so many times if I'm in a rush, I'll grab a pre-made salad and I just have a bowl and I'll just mix it up in there. And I'll throw in some apple cider vinegar and some oil, maybe some salt and pepper, some garlic powder. We talked about garlic powder a couple of shows ago, how important that is to your diet. And I'll have myself a great salad, and I'll feel great, and I'll have energy in the afternoon. And the key here, as I said, energy in the afternoon, because productivity plummets after lunch. I used to give a lot of lectures to schools, and I'd say to the teachers, all right, when are kids' grades better, morning or afternoon? 100% of the time, the answer was morning. So what was the difference between morning and afternoon? They had lunch. And if you remember high school lunches or grammar school lunches, it was fried food and cheap food and white bread and cheeses and cheap meats. Those are things that really make you tired. They clump the red blood cells together. And red blood cells clump together, they don't carry oxygen as well. If you don't carry oxygen as well, you get tired. So a simple test that you can do to prove that I'm right is today for lunch or whatever, next day, have a big salad. No cheese, no meat, just salad. You can throw in some beans if you want to get chickpeas to give it some heaviness. And just notice how you feel. The next day, have a couple of slices of pepperoni pizza. See how you feel. You're going to fall asleep. No one can survive the pepperoni pizza attack because it clumps the red blood cells together. It's very hard to digest, and you get really tired. The gluten in the dough is inflammatory to the bowels. So you're going to feel so much better by eating a salad as opposed to pepperoni pizza or a meatball sandwich. Now, I haven't had any animal products in 36 years. I miss meatball sandwiches on crunchy Italian bread out of New Jersey with some provolone cheese on top. I'm not going to lie to you. I like the flavor of that. But once you know how bad it is for you, and once you experience it for yourself, wow, I had salad one day, a meatball sandwich the next day, I got really tired. It's not worth giving up a half a day of your life for a meatball sandwich, metaphorically speaking. So you have to think about this, and I want you to, this is a lesson I want you to learn when it comes to nutrition and life, really. Is it worth it? Is it worth going through that? It's a Journey song. The fighting was worth the love, they say. Is it worth it? If it's worth it, then do it. But I don't want to give up a half a day of my life just because I felt like having a meatball sandwich. And if you have an option, which you always do, it's a better choice. Now, if you're at a sub shop, let's say, you can get a veggie sandwich without cheese because cheese is saturated fat, clumps your red blood cells together, and do that. So I want you to think this. I want you to think, what's the best choice I can make at this moment in time? So you have to take action. I want you to take action every meal you eat for the rest of your life. Is this the best choice I can make for my life, for my energy, for my love life, for my sleep, for my bowel function, for my brain function? What's going to be the best choice you can make? And I'm going to give you a lot of tips that you can do today in addition to changing your diet. So something raw at every meal. Water. Many, many times you're dehydrated. And when you're dehydrated, you're tired. So it's really simple to just drink more water. Now, herbal teas count as water. People say, oh, water bores me. All right, herbal teas. In fact, right here in the studio with me, I have some herbal tea. And I always, when I do a lecture or a show or something like that, where I'm talking a lot, I do the brand name is Throat Coat, but there's other brand names too. It's essentially slippery elm. And slippery elm is very good for the mucous membranes like my throat. So I hydrate and I drink my slippery elm tea. But you can do peppermint tea, you can do chamomile, which is very relaxing, can calm you down. So there's so many different herbal teas and they have benefits. Not just fluid and not just something to drink, they actually have some medicinal benefits as well. So those are pretty easy. Supplement-wise, got to jump right into supplements. Supplements are really my secret. The reason I have as much energy as I do is I take supplements. And so the minimum supplements I suggest for energy would be, of course, Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source. If you don't know what they are, they're 2 powders. They taste great. And I take a scoop of each, and you can shake it up with water, which I think is boring, or plant milk, almond milk, coconut milk, whatever it is, unsweetened. Shake it up and drink that at least once a day. Now, you can do it twice a day, but don't do it twice a day a lot because you can go into something called hypervitaminosis. And what that means is too much vitamins, okay, because Essential Source is a multivitamin along with prebiotics, probiotics, digestive enzyme, raw fruits and vegetables, enzymes in there. So you can overdose if you do too much. Every now and then, maybe two times a week if you want to do a double dose, that's fine, but just don't do it every day. So supplement-wise, Super Greens and Essential Source. B-complex. B-complex, very important for energy. Makes the brain work. Nitric oxide. This is my 3rd favorite supplement. Super Greens and Essential Source. If you're not doing Super Greens and Essential Source, folks, you should. It's on the website, drjoe.com, drjoe.com. Just go to the store. Now, I can't imagine why you're not doing it because we fight really hard to keep the prices as affordable as possible. You get an amazing quantity and quality of nutrients. So you're not going to find this highly packed nutrients anywhere else, maybe 2-3 times the price. You might find something close, but I think it's the best thing on the market, my opinion. So Super Greens and Essential Source, nitric oxide opens up your blood vessels. It increases circulation to your heart, your lungs, sex organs, your brain. So I love my nitric oxide because it helps me think clear, but also gives me a burst of energy. Now, if you have low blood pressure, you got to be careful with nitric oxide. What I want you to do is take a capsule, open it up, and just take a half a capsule and see how you feel that day. Do it in the morning. Mix it in with your Super Greens and Essential Source. Then do a whole capsule. Then do a capsule and a half. Then 2 capsules. And the reason is nitric oxide opens up your blood vessels. And if you open up your blood vessels too much, you might get tired. You might crash because the blood pressure drops too low. So with nitric oxide, normally I take 4 a day. But if you have low blood pressure, you might want to consider experimenting. It's really easy to do and see how you feel. So Super Green, Essential Source, B-complex, nitric oxide, and then adrenal support. Because adrenal support has ingredients in it called adaptogens. Now, adaptogens do exactly that. They adapt to what you need. So maybe you need some stimulation. Maybe you need some suppression. The adaptogens work really well. And so you're going to feel the rush when you take the nitric oxide. You'll probably feel it a couple of days after the B-complex and the Essential Source and Super Greens. The adrenal glands, you're not going to feel a whole lot right away, but we're healing the adrenal glands because the adrenal glands produce adrenaline, which gives you energy. It also produces hormones. It also fights inflammation. It causes inflammation, too. It balances it. So Super Green, Essential Source, B-complex, nitric oxide, and adrenal support. That's my energy protocol. All of those are on the website, drjoe.com. Do that with a lot of water, and you won't even think about coffee anymore. Now, it may take a few days. I understand that. Getting outside is really important because when you get outside, nature has a way of awakening your senses, and especially if it's sunny out. So we've talked about sun countless times. I'll talk about it again because I know we always have new listeners joining us. I want you to get about 15, 20 minutes of sun several times a week, 2, 3, 4 times a week. So what you do is you get out in the sun, and how do you know you had enough? Your skin starts to feel a little warm. If you're light-skinned, you can actually see the skin turn pink. If you're dark-skinned, you may not see that. But just when you start to feel the skin get a little warm, you're done for the day. Now, if you're going out on the beach, you're on a cruise ship, you're going to be out hiking, cover up. After exposing your arms, your legs, your face, if you can, for about 20 minutes of sun, put on a big floppy hat, put on some big baggy shirt, big baggy pants, and protect yourself from the sun. Because sunscreens can be very toxic. Most of the sunscreens on the market have toxic chemicals in them that can actually increase your risk of cancer. The two that are safe contain titanium dioxide and can't think of the other one. But when you put a sunscreen on, it's going to leave a little white coat. Okay? If it leaves a little white film on you, that's a good sunscreen. If it doesn't leave a white film on it, it's not. Okay? So that's what you're looking for. If you spray it on, don't use the spray-on ones. They're never good. Okay? So just be careful with that. I know this isn't a show about sunscreen today, but get outside and just going for a walk. 5 minutes, 10 minutes outside is amazing. Now, the other thing, too, is we sit a lot. When we sit a lot, the body doesn't work as well as it should. The body's designed for motion. So what I want you to do is I want you to set your computer, if you're sitting at a computer, every half hour. And I want you to stand up, and I want you to do something called a cross crawl. Now, what's a cross crawl? This is one of my favorite exercises. And what the cross crawl is you stand up and you bring your right elbow to your, and you lift up your left knee and bring your right elbow together with the left knee. Then your left elbow to your right knee. And I want you to do this just 30 times. It's going to take about 15 seconds, maybe 20 seconds to do. But if you do it, you can do a lot more than that, by the way. But if you do 30 cross crawls, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you will be amazed how much more energy you get, how your brain works better, how everything functions better, how you sleep better, you go to the bathroom better, your love life improves. The strong benefits of taking action and just doing it for, give me 15 seconds an hour is all I'm asking for. And what will happen is after a day or two, you'll say, oh, I can do more than 15 seconds. I can do 20 seconds. I can do 30 seconds. I can do a minute. The cross crawl is the quickest, easiest, best form of getting the body working because it integrates your brain. So what do I mean by that? The right side of the brain controls the left side of your body. Left side of the brain controls the right side of your body. Most of us all day use one side of our body. We work the mouse, we brush our teeth, we answer the phone, and we use one side more than the other. And so that part of the brain that controls that side of the body is stimulated. The other side is then suppressed. And so you want to stimulate both sides of the brain. And the cross crawl is such a quick, easy, simple way to give your body energy and get the body working. I remember years ago doing a lecture for a high school group, and basketball players were there, and it was in the gym. So I grabbed a star basketball player. I said, shoot a simple shot, easy, nothing, and he shoots it. It was fine. I said, okay, now I want you to cross crawl 30 seconds. Shoots it again, even better. And then I messed him up. Instead of bringing his right elbow to his left knee, I brought his right elbow to his right knee and then his left elbow to his left knee. So again, I screwed up the brain. I segregated his brain instead of integrating it. I said, now shoot the shot. He couldn't do it. He says, what's wrong? I said, okay, reset the brain, right arm, left leg, left arm, right leg. And he shot the shot. He was fine. So it really helps coordination, it helps brain function, helps energy levels, it helps cognitive thought process. Incredible. Years ago, I got invited to Cuba to do some consulting with the Cuban Olympic team. And my friend Tom and I, we were both invited by the government. It was all legal. We had visas and everything. And we met with all the Olympic athletes, the medal winners anyway, from Cuba. And we met with the doctors from the team. I met with Fidel Castro's personal doctor. I just found his business card the other day. His name is Dr. Grande. That means Dr. Big Big. But it was fun, and it was kind of neat. And I taught them that technique. And I didn't teach it to the athletes. I taught it when we went to a children's hospital. And the children, believe me, it's not a hospital like you're thinking. It was an old school that had some cribs in it, and the medicine cabinet had aspirin in it. So I said, we got to get these kids energized and get them feeling good about themselves. And so I taught them to cross crawl, and they just loved it. And the nurses were just like, oh my gosh, I feel so much better. Thank you, thank you. So the cross crawl is an amazing way to get energy without caffeine. So you got to get the body in motion, and that's a quick, easy way. Now, if you can go for a walk, if you can go up and down stairs, that's great. But I'm looking for most people who really don't have the opportunity to walk away from their computer and do these things. So another thing we need to have with energy is the body has to be functioning at 100% or close to 100%. So the brain right now is sending messages down the spine, out the nerves, and back up. That's how your body works. If you have neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, digestive issues, knee pain, pain is very exhausting. I have a traumatic brain injury. I was hit by a car when I was 10 years old, and I have a traumatic brain injury. It never goes away. And when my traumatic brain injury flares up, I get a blazing headache. And when I get a headache, I'm exhausted. I'm wiped out. That day is, I'm struggling through the day. So if you have neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, numbness, tingling, sciatic pain, muscle weakness, you really need to try to get that fixed, because all this other stuff I'm teaching you, or if you just go caffeine or whatever other stimulant you're going to use, you're not going to get all the benefits of whatever it is unless the nervous system is working the best it can. So if you have pain, I want you to go to my website right now, drjoe.com, drjoe.com. Make an appointment to come see us. In the Atlanta area, we have offices in Marietta, Duluth, Stockbridge, and West Cobb. And we can set you up an appointment, usually within 24 hours, but we can go longer if we need to. Normally, the first visit with us is $912. That's an exam, x-rays, consultation, first treatment, going over the x-rays on your follow-up visit, and a complete nutrition evaluation. The x-rays alone are going to cost you way more than that anywhere else. But we're going to do a whole workup on you and determine what's going to be the best course for you. So if you're ready to make an appointment, drjoe.com, it's $2.99. It's for my listeners. And we accept people with all insurances, no insurances. About 50% of our patients either have no insurance or their insurance is so stupid, crazy, deductible copay that's not even worth using. And so chiropractic care, most effective, least expensive treatment for pain, which then parlays into giving you more energy, getting rid of the pain. So if you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, go to the website, drjoe.com, make an appointment right now. Do it now, okay, and make your appointment as quickly as you possibly can. I don't want you suffering needlessly. And I've been in practice 38 years. I've missed a half a day of work in 38 years. So talk about energy levels. I know the secrets. I know what works. And so I don't want you suffering one more day. So take that action. Go to the website. Book your appointment right now. Because if you don't take that action step, you're not going to get well. You're not going to get the best results that you can, regardless of what else you're doing. If it's psychological care, if it's surgery, if it's diabetes, heart disease, we need to add the component of getting the nervous system working, the digestive system working, and your diet straightened out. So many times it's instead of other therapies, but oftentimes it's also in conjunction with other therapies. I want to get you as well as I can, and that's my job, and that's my team of doctors' job. drjoe.com. Make your appointment right now. So I'm Dr. Joe Esposito. We're talking today about how to increase your energy without caffeine. And I'm probably not going to get to it in this segment, but the next segment, I'm going to tell you how to kick the caffeine habit. The longest it's ever taken me to get somebody off caffeine, if they're serious about wanting to do it, was 4 days. And that person was drinking about 30 cups of coffee a day. No kidding. 30 cups of coffee a day. His name was Yogi. 30 cups of coffee a day plus. And it still took me only 4 days to get him off the caffeine. So we have that coming up, so you don't want to miss that. So the cross crawl is really important. If you drink caffeine, caffeine has something called a half-life. What a half-life is half of it is burned up or used up in a certain amount of time. And a half-life of caffeine is about 8 to 12 hours. So if you have a cup of coffee, 8 hours later, you still have caffeine